Here she is. Just drop a comment. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm trying to find a good spot to do this. Where's there a good spot?
right
That's kind
there,
of
right there is fine.
That's
okay.
probably fine.
Can you hear us?
Hi guys. Oh, I miss you guys.
Miss
we
you too, Lisa.
too.
It's been too long.
It has been. Nice jacket. That's so nice that you dressed up for the occasion, Sean.
Oh, thank you. I can't say
yeah.
the same for Gabe, but you know.
Gabe looks very handsome, very nice.
Aw, thank you.
Aww.
What have you guys been doing? Oh, my Mother's Day was awesome. Probably the best one ever. My girls had a beautiful breakfast made for me, and then we went down to the Peekskill. We went on along the river walk. It was really nice day. How about you guys?
I made my mom fried rice for dinner, and we bought her chocolate, and we went on a walk, so she was very happy.
Good.
We did a little barbecue on my backyard.
Perfect.
I'm doing good though.
Good. You guys
Same
been
thing.
okay? You've been staying active?
Yeah, I've been getting workouts from Paterno. Yeah. That's they're not fun, granted. I had one today that was like similar to the CrossFit ones you usually have up in the weight room. It was literal hell. It was not fun. But you know what? It's whatever makes you stronger, right?
Lisa,
what was it?
Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Let me look at my text.
Lisa, you usually post your like workout videos on. Is it on Hackley Online or? You guys...
We've been sending Mr. Edwards programming for the teams. So if you're on a team, you should be getting our emails, our document, and then I guess the email from your coach,
and
with a bunch of workouts. And we have, you guys know about Murph. I'm sure you've heard Murph. Jimin has talked about it before in the past, where you do that 1 mile run and then 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then a 1 mile run. We have been contemplating. My Alexa is talking. We've been debating whether or not to put that in the programming for Memorial Day, but it's a bit extreme, so we may not do that.
Not too bad.
Wait, are you guys running like a class for the wellness activities and stuff?
Not really. No, we're not running a class, but we've been. I've been doing my teachers' classes twice a week.
Right.
So on Zoom. So that's kind of just what I've been doing, which has been great. And then we send the programming in a document for the teams. We've just been creating it. So we'll have, a couple of workouts, and then we've been shooting like the movement demonstration, like what it should look like. And then that with a link to YouTube in case someone doesn't know what they're doing, they can just click on the link and see, oh, that's what a running man setup looks like.
That's pretty cool. And thank you for doing them too. It's helping keep my my mom active.
I'm happy to do it. It's the only normal part of the week, even though it's not really normal, but I look forward to seeing everybody and staying connected. It's so hard. We work so hard in the gym. We work really for years to try and build up everybody's strength, and then we just have to stop everything. So these workouts kind of help keep us together and keep us active, even if it's, and we have been using some weights. There have been a little bit of workouts with weights and trying to do things with holds and whatnot to kind of maintain strength, but it's going to be interesting when we get back into the gym how everyone's going to feel.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cause I know for myself, and I know for Gabe too, we both have limited equipment at home. I think I have a 35-pound dumbbell, a pull-up bar, and a sit-up, bench, and that's all I have. So it's just very hard to do, the stuff that I would usually do.
Yeah,
I know. The thing is that as long as you've been doing something, I think that's so much better than not doing anything at all. Even if it's 15 minutes a day of something, push-ups, sit-ups, anything. It's so much better than just sitting around week after week after week, day after day after day without any activity. And I think some people have been doing that. And I've talked to a couple of people that have said, you know, if I can't get into the gym, not motivated to do anything, which is hard because I know it's not fun to work out in your living room sometimes or in your room, whatever, when you don't have people around you to support you and the energy is different. But even 10 minutes a day of something is better than absolutely nothing.
Well, that's true. The first week of spring break, I didn't do anything, and I just felt like a piece of crap, in all honesty, because I just felt like, you know, I had no mobility, no flexibility after not doing something for a week. And it was just like, you know, because after that, I was planning on going back to Hackley and just, you know, lifting. But then the whole quarantine thing happened, and those plans kind of got changed completely.
Yeah.
So it was just really unfortunate. But no, after doing stuff like that, because I'll read you the workout because I think you were curious. You seem curious. It was jump ropes, 100 jumps, burpees 10, squats 10, push-ups 10, and then 15 rounds of that as fast as I can.
Right, and those are
Good.
all things that you can do without much equipment.
Yeah, exactly. I did them all outside too. Granted, I got some weird looks from people passing by. It was still, you know, a solid workout.
That's okay.
And we talked
People
about the turnover.
people have been minding their own business lately, which is kind of nice. No one has really been too vocal about what people are doing for activity outside. I mean, unless you're doing it with a group, obviously that's not okay. But no, I've been seeing people riding these like weird bikes. Weird, like this one scooter, it was like a 3-wheel thing with one wheel in the front, and you have to go like side to side.
A tricycle?
And it wasn't a tricycle, but I guess it was a tricycle. But I was walking with my kids on this path that was like, just say it was this big, and the guy was going like this, like from one side to the other, and I was going like I have to mow us down. And
See, I've been. That's pretty funny.
got out of the way.
I've been driving recently, and there was some guy biking, and he was doing that thing in the middle of the road, and it's like, you know, dude, because I think it was like a 40-mile-per-hour, you know, road, and I'm not the greatest driver, but you know, I had so much road rage after that because this guy is just going back and forth, back and forth. Gabe, you've been driving too, right?
Yeah, well, I was scheduled to take my exam or the driver's test like right around now, but obviously they're all canceled.
Listen, I was gonna take mine at spring break, but you know.
Yeah, everything has changed. My daughter was in driver's ed right before this whole thing ended, and they didn't continue, and I don't think they plan to continue until next year. So that changes everything for when she can take the test, and or I don't know, maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but it's just exactly. I mean, your daughter's she's a junior, right?
She is, yes.
Oh, and the other one's a freshman.
The SAT, and the other one is a freshman. That's right. So the SAT has been canceled. I'm not sure if they're going to even need them to apply for colleges.
A lot of schools already went to like test optional, so
yeah,
tough. They're not requiring the SAT for next year, or maybe the next few years. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Right. Well, you guys are beyond that. You guys have already
yeah,
completed all stuff. Yeah, but that's okay.
That's true.
How has your how has your school been? Are you guys done? Are you finished with assignments and projects and essays?
Sort of. I mean, we have APs too. Yeah, Gabe has his AP tomorrow, right, Gabe?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's done. He just has this senior project left, and then I have my AP the very last day, the very last AP of the day, May 22nd, which is also the last senior project day. So still got a ways to go.
Couple days, yeah, a couple weeks.
Yeah, online school it's been different. I know all of our teachers. I think some of them are gonna be listening in. I just want to let them know that we all know that they've been doing their best and they've been trying as hard as they can. But online school is just so different from actual school.
It's very hard. I've noticed that. I saw that even with trying to teach my classes, and I'm, you know, not teaching a subject. I'm teaching, you know, fitness, but it's so completely different. It's actually so much more work to prepare than being in the actual class. So I give it, yeah, I agree. I hand it to the teachers. They've really been working hard to make it work. And yeah, I hope you guys are getting as much as you can out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
One of
Alright.
the things Sean and I actually wanted to talk to you about was nutrition and sort of like post-workout meals and.
I can't really hear you, Gabe. Hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Nutrition, yes.
Wait.
Big topic right now.
Yeah. Sean and I wanted to talk to you a little about nutrition and post-workout meals, like how to get your gains, and.
Okay. So my thinking about nutrition, I mean, we could talk about two different things. So first of all, the nutrition during quarantine has, for a lot of us is very different from our regular nutrition. And, I'm speaking from my own perspective, but I know that when this whole thing started, it was, there was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of unknowns. There was a lot of being home and the need to find some kind of comfort and for most of us, for many of us, food does offer that. It does bring you comfort and, joy to when you sit down with like your favorite meal or you end up, indulging in something that you don't normally get to have. It does make you feel better. And I think we were all kind of searching for that in the very beginning. But for many of us who are aware of our nutrition or who are concerned about our nutrition, you can't eat like that, ongoing for a long period of time without gaining weight, especially if you're not doing anything to stay active. So for me, I indulged in the first week, maybe 2 weeks, there was still, things that were being baked every day and there was still ice cream in the freezer and we were still indulging in that way. But you kind of had to like get real about that quick. So I stopped, having those types of foods, the chips, the snacks, having those things, having them accessible, kind of had to reduce having them in the house. And it was sort of hard in the beginning because you're kind of like, there's nothing to eat. My kids would come in and be like, oh, there's nothing to eat. Meanwhile, we had lots of healthy food, but there was no chips, there were no cookies, there were no comfort foods that they were looking for. So, but we adapted and we got used to, having having a good breakfast so that you're not looking for snacks. Having good meals during the day kind of helps you to not look for snacks either late at night while you're sitting, around watching TV, like making sure that you're eating good, nutritious meals in the right proportions at certain meal times definitely helps with the snacking. So if you have a good breakfast, protein, good healthy carb in the morning, and a good fat in the morning, then usually you're not going to be hungry until lunchtime. And then at lunchtime, you can prepare another good nutritious meal that'll satisfy you. And, a couple snacks during the day, healthy snacks it's important to have, you guys, especially at your age, your metabolism is higher. Even if you aren't doing as much activity as before, you still have to eat, a little bit more than other older people who, don't need as many calories to sustain themselves.
Right.
So yeah, we've been having yogurt and, Greek yogurt has protein in it and, is a healthy option with fruit, cheese sticks, just trying to stay away from the processed stuff, trying to stay away from the sugary things that make you crave more sugary things.
Right.
No, it's all just a landslide. Oh, sorry, Gabe, but it's just like, if you eat one sugary food, it goes to another one. That's like I said, what happened to me my first week of quarantine. But one thing, is it hailing at your guys' house?
It's not.
Yeah, the weather isn't very good today.
This is so bizarre. It was raining a second ago, and then it was sunny, and now it's hailing.
I know.
Anyways,
the weather is insane. So unpredictable.
Something that a lot of people might not know about you, Lisa, is that you actually work with Oatmeal Gold. Like do you run the company?
Yeah, so we work with we're investors in this company from Montreal that creates this bar, and they don't have a line of products or anything. It's actually just a small bakery in Montreal that created this protein bar, and it's not the type of it's not a food supplement. It's not like something you would find at GNC. It's an actual bar that is created. It's made out of very clean, healthy ingredients. It's oatmeal, honey is the base for this bar with protein. They use whey protein, and it's very similar to something that I would make myself here at home. Like if I was trying to make a natural, sometimes you find recipes online that are like, you make your own protein bars or protein snacks. And it's pretty similar to what I would make myself. And I've discovered them my sister sent this to me a few years ago, and we just felt like this is amazing to have this kind of a bar. It's accessible to, if you're traveling and you want to take like a meal to go, it's so much easier than finding, food on the go, stopping for fast food or whatnot. I've never found a bar similar to the oatmeal gold bar. So that's why I wanted to bring it to the United States. And it's been doing really well. I mean, all people from all over are, still purchasing them. A lot of people who are like, athletes are buying it, but also just regular people who don't really work out. Some people don't even, care about working out. They just want to eat clean, healthy, ingredients. And a lot of the bars on the market, they're not clean. They're full of artificial ingredients. They're full of, things in them that not necessarily they're not really beneficial. But these bars are, 20 grams of protein each, which is not easy to get. I know for myself, getting the right amount of protein is a challenge. It's not easy to do. And so we found those bars, and it really has helped me. It has helped my daughter, who's a vegetarian. Her protein intake is always low because she would have to eat a lot of beans or a lot of, other sources, vegetable proteins, to get the right amount of protein, and it's very hard. So she loves those bars for breakfast, and they're easy meals. They're easy to just eat. They taste great, which is why it's so easy to eat them. But
Right. I can attest to that.
Yeah, no,
As
I was gonna say
a
same with
usual
me.
customer.
yes, I will have to, guys. I'm sure you've run out. I need to
Oh,
restock.
Yeah, I'm going crazy, like lacking them. They're just so convenient to like grab and eat for breakfast or just whatever.
I agree.
And I think
agree.
it's so funny because like I'm constantly standing around the gym like eating one, and I don't think a lot of people know that I get them from you,
Yeah,
which is I think is pretty funny.
No, I'm happy to share them with my my family and all the people I care about, because I do think that they're such a good product. I would not have even considered bringing them in and going through that process of the whole customs and whatnot. And we were really lucky that we got our last shipment was just before the borders closed. So we have full stock in storage. So we have a lot. I don't know. They haven't been selling as quick because we haven't been able to restock. Stores have been closed. That stores that carry them have been closed. So we haven't really been able to get them out there like before. But all of our customers who are cult following, who I guess you guys are sort of part of that, who need their bars, they've always we've been dropping them off on porches all over Westchester, because and I think a lot of people too are getting really sick of cooking at home, and they're just tired of eating the same thing. So these bars are perfect. And also a lot of people who've been doing hiking and things. Like I've been hiking now, going out when the weather cooperates. Me and my kids were going out for a hike, a couple of hours, and we're always taking the bars with us, because it's just we're not going to go to stop at a restaurant on the way home, or like usual you can go out and get food whenever. Now you have to kind of like plan your meals ahead of time and make sure you have enough food for the week, or food for whenever. We're not getting as much, so they've been great. They're filling in the gaps.
I actually have mine still from before spring break, because I've been saving mine. I bought,
Yeah.
I think I went to,
You've been hoarding them. That's so funny.
yeah, no, they're my last resort, because we ran a protein powder the other day, and I had a sick pump. It was a bunch of push-ups and squats, right? As sick as a pump can be for this situation, right? And we didn't have any protein powder, so I ate it, and it was just the greatest thing. And I think I have 6 left. And the other thing too about it is I've been eating a very, I would say, just it's a very, I'm missing the word, but it's like the same diet every single, the same exact.
Homogeneous.
Yeah, that's not the word, but it's a big vocabulary word game. I like it.
monotonous meals. That's the thing. Yeah, I think everyone's just sick of eating the same thing every day, and I'm sick of cooking. I've been cooking, having my kids home with me. We're not used to eating every single meal together. We've been eating every single meal together, which is nice. But after a while, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of these dishes. I'm so sick of cooking. I'm so sick of preparing and cleaning and all that stuff. So it's great to just have that bar for breakfast, and at least I know it's healthy, it's satisfying, it's not gonna they're not gonna be hungry like half an hour later looking for something else. It is filling. I know for you guys, you're very active, so you may feel that you may be hungry after, but for me it's
No,
a meal.
I find it pretty filling.
It's a big
Yeah.
bar. It's 100 grams. It's a good size bar. If you were to compare it to another bar on the market like the RX bar, it would be like you would need 2 or 3 of those bars to equal one of the oatmeal gold. But yeah, we have plenty in stock, and we also have that sale going on. So we've extended it two for 60. So if you guys want to get a box each, they're $30 now.
I feel like we might have to do
Yeah, I'm gonna have to whip out the credit card, buddy.
Right.
But
or deliver them, no problem.
that's awesome.
Drop-
I was saying this is not an ad. We just are very big supporters of these
Yeah.
bars.
I appreciate that. You guys are one
Right,
of my first.
for all of the people who are watching, you can get your fill from Lisa.
Yeah, exactly. What was that again? It was 2 for what?
2 for 60, and if you go to integrated-fitness.com, www.integrated-fitness.com. Oh, and use the coupon code friends of Lisa or friend of Lisa. You get free shipping.
Wow, we just got a sponsor. I feel
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
Yeah.
We just got an unpaid sponsor right there. Okay,
Oh
but
gosh, I think you guys need some free bars.
I mean, Lisa, we have 13 viewers, so
14.
13.
14.
well, it's 14 over 5 days.
That's awesome.
No,
And
it's
2
been
of them were.
like one day.
Wait, when did you put it up?
Like yesterday.
Oh, it's yeah, you're right. It's been one
14
day.
in one day. So I think we're on track for like 1 million by end of the year.
I think so. I think you guys are onto something. You guys are really interesting. You have great, you have great energy. You guys are a really good team, and you have interesting things to talk about. So I would listen.
We have interesting guests too.
Exactly. And while I'd love to talk about me more, this one's about you, Lisa. So we did actually have a question about you growing up in Toronto, right? Or being in Toronto?
Yes. I
Gabe,
moved here in the States when I was 23.
Gabe, what was the question you had before? It's slipping.
Oh, well,
out of my
so
mind.
I think it's just that, like, I don't know if most people from Hackley know that you're from Toronto or, like, even know the story behind, like, you coming to the U.S. So we were sort of wondering if
You want to know my story? Yes. So
Yeah.
when I was in my junior year of college, I was in school for journalism. I was radio and television arts. And I did an internship, and in Toronto, I worked at a television station, a local television station, and I met Ali Velshi, who's I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was an anchor on he's an anchor on CNN now. Anyway, he was one of the reasons why I came to the United States. He had connections at CBS News, and I was able to do an internship at CBS News during my junior year of college, and it was amazing. I was the first Canadian to do an internship in the States. This was in '95, I think it was. It's a long time ago. And that summer that I was here doing my internship, I met my ex-husband. Now he's my ex, but I met my husband at the time, and I came back the following year and did another internship again with CBS News. And then the summer after that, I graduated and I got married and moved to New York. And it's sort of, we were married for 20 years. It's not like it was a 90-day fiance kind of situation. I would have preferred to stay in Canada, but my
that hurts.
Yeah, that's
I left. I wasn't coming from some faraway land trying to escape anything. I was happy in Canada, but my ex at the time, my husband at the time, was 7 years already on the NYPD. So he had already established himself here and he was already working. And so, you know, the obvious decision was to move to New York because, you know, I could have, you know, wanted to be at CBS anyway. I had an opportunity to work for CBS, and I was at CBS for 11 years. And then I switched over to the world of health and fitness. I had 2 young kids at the time, and commuting into the city was hard, and the job itself, I was an associate producer for the evening news, and that was, you know, it was a hard job. I was traveling a lot. I didn't get to see my kids that often. So I decided to take a little break. I was supposed to go back to CBS. I guess I'm still on that break, and it's, you know, been about 8 years now.
Oh wow.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
never knew that though.
So could we
Yeah.
find you on any like TV shows or anything?
So I was a producer. Did everything behind the scenes.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I was on the show that I worked on was the weekend edition of the evening news, and I did all the behind the scenes stuff. So I did writing and producing. I did interviews. I did a lot of camera work. Believe it or not, the job had become so that I wore a lot of hats. When I first started out there, I was just a producer, meaning I organized the interviews and then I would go out, you know, with a crew. I had a camera guy, sound guy, lighting guy. But by the end of that, you know, before I left, after 10 years or so, I was doing all of it. I was the producer, the writer, the camera person, the sound person, the lighting person, and it was a lot of work. But that's just how the game changed over the years. And if I were to go back now, I'm sure I would have to do everything plus the on-air stuff. The only thing I didn't do over at CBS was the on-air stuff. You know, because New York is a really big market, and I would have had to learn how to do the on-air stuff, you know, in a smaller market before coming to New York. So most people who you see on air in New York, you know, they've done years, you know, in a smaller market in some other part of the States, you know. So because I was married, I didn't want to, you know, leave and do something somewhere else and then come back. So I stayed behind the camera, which it was good. It was good for me. I loved, you know, what I did over there, but it was hard with having little kids and traveling and being gone, you know, a lot.
That makes sense.
So I started teaching classes. Yeah, at the gym that I belonged to a CrossFit gym, and I just did the certification one weekend. I was always into fitness. I was always, you know, I was a skating instructor back home in Toronto. I was a swimming instructor. I, you know, been in the gym my whole life. I played volleyball in college. I didn't ever, you know, miss a workout. You know, in my personal life, I was always, you know, very much into fitness. So I knew a lot. So kind of switching into that field was very natural for me. I loved anything that had to do, you know, with health and fitness. I was personally interested in that anyway. So I started teaching classes, and I realized how much I really enjoyed it. And I was hired at a local gym to kind of build up their CrossFit program that didn't exist because CrossFit was still kind of new back then. And we started from, you know, 1 or 2 members doing CrossFit, and then it grew to, you know, over 100 members in a few, you know, short months. And it just kind of evolved. I met Jenny Leffler and Marianne McGuire at 914, CrossFit 914, where I was working. I was one of the instructors there. I was a CrossFit Kids instructor, and they both work at Hackley, as you know. And they were really big. You know, Marianne was a really big, you know, she played a huge role in getting me into Hackley. She, you know, opened the door for me there. And I started off just teaching 1 day a week, the teachers' classes. And, you know, it was great. I got to meet so many people, and everyone there was so wonderful. And, you know, they helped me. They helped me get me in there. And, you know, eventually I hoped to have been, you know, working there in a more of like a full-time position. But working with the PE kind of allowed me to work with you guys. And so it grew. My time there every year seemed to grow a little bit more. We added a second class for the teachers. I started working more with the teams and with Sam, and kind of everyone just helped make a place for me there, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened. So I would never look back to going back into TV. Not now anyway. I'm still on that break.
That's fair. I mean, personally, I think being on TV is awesome, but being a legend in the weight room is still kind of it's still pretty cool
Yeah,
too.
we like you better at Hackley.
Yeah, exactly. Please don't leave us. But I have a
Thank
question.
you, guys.
Of course, Lisa, of course. But when did you join like the Hackley community originally?
So it's been 5 years. I think this September of this year, it will be five full years.
Okay, so I think you joined when we were in 8th grade, right, Gabe?
Yeah.
Okay, so you joined when I joined the Hackley community. That's cool.
Yeah, it was. So the way I try to remember it, I guess my first year working with PE was when Amy Challen, you remember Amy?
Mm-hmm.
When she was a freshman, and now she's completed her first year of college at Harvard. So kind of was started with her, and so the 4 years there plus the 1 year that she's been gone, it's 5 years. Yeah,
that's incredible. Time moves so fast too in the
does.
Hackley community too
Right.
as well.
That was a lot I didn't know like a lot of that.
Yeah, no, I had no idea about any of that.
I guess I should have sent you guys my bio.
How did you like manage all of, because you shared like that a lot of stuff that you did in not a very like large amount of times. Like, how did you manage all that?
Which part?
Well, like I guess in college, like you talking
Careers
about
or-
like in college being on an athletics team and working out and having internships and majoring in journalism and all that.
So it's different in Canada. I will say the athletics portion of sports in Canada is not as, I won't say it's not as big. It is, but it's a different. I didn't play college in volleyball in college the way you would think someone goes to college to play volleyball. I played my first year only because it was I didn't live on campus. I lived at home and I commuted. The college I went to was in the city, so I lived at home. So it was about a 40-minute train ride every day to get to school, and it was really, the first year was tough, and I had a hard time getting. Practice would be at 7 a.m. and my classes sometimes wouldn't start until 2. And if I didn't have, like somewhere to go in between, and if I didn't, I didn't live on campus, so it was a real struggle sometimes to manage it all. So the first year was a little rough, and I stopped playing after my first year and had to focus more on my studies and my schooling. So that allowed me to work at the TV station that I was working down there in Toronto, and then get the internship, work on getting the internship at CBS, which took up, that changed my trajectory completely, getting that internship. So sports sort of took a back seat while I was in college because I needed to kind of focus on my career and where I wanted to go. But I know, like, for here in the States, a lot of kids who go to school for sports, like for their specific sport, that's really the focus. That's really the focus while they're there. They have to put sports first. Yeah, of course, it's important to maintain grades and whatnot, but like if you get a scholarship or to go to school for that sport, you're expected to play. But it's not as, it wasn't as hard for, it wasn't as demanding for me.
Right.
So I did have the ability to say, you know what, my studies comes first, and I'm gonna do the sports thing when it's convenient for me. But we did have a nice gym there at that school, and I went to the gym every day, and I was very active in doing whatever. I played tennis. I was always skating and swimming.
Do you
So
wish
you
you
did
had
everything?
lived on campus? Like, do you think that would have made it easier?
I don't think
living
that.
there?
I don't think that would have changed it. I don't think that would have changed it. It was still You know, playing on a team sport is very demanding. And I think I'm glad I made the choice that I made. I'm glad that I chose, you know, doing the internship and focusing on my studies than playing volleyball, because the volleyball would have ended when college was over, and but doing the internship kind of led to so many more opportunities for me, and it shaped my future a lot more than the volleyball would have. It's not like I was going to play professional volleyball anywhere in the world, you know, after I graduated. So it didn't have that impact.
How did you get into playing volleyball? Like, did you get something from your childhood ignite like a passion for it?
Yeah, I played it while I was in elementary school and high school. And I was tall. I was one of the taller girls on the team. So it was kind of, it was almost like a easy, not easy, but, you know, I easily made the team. I had athletic ability and I was tall. That's kind of all you needed in elementary school, especially. And then once you start to play, you know, that sport, and you're kind of, you know, you become part of that team, you grow with the team. And so I played it all through high school. And I do love playing on a team. Being a team, playing on a team is one of the most rewarding things anyone can do at any stage in your life. Learning how to work with others, and, you know, that closeness, the bond that you get working and playing with other people. There's nothing like it. Like, you can't get that kind of life experience doing any other thing. So it's always good. That's why I encourage my girls to always play team sport. My one daughter plays volleyball with a league downstate. She plays on a team outside of school. She also plays on the varsity team, and she loves it. There's just so many benefits to playing a team sport.
Yeah, no, that's when me and Gabe were also kind of annoyed because baseball, you know, we were seniors, we were the top dogs, right? And the Florida trip got
Mhm.
canceled, the entire baseball season got canceled, and that just really kind of, I guess, killed the sports vibe for the rest of the year for us. Because, you know, it was also end of senior year, so grades didn't really matter too much. So we were
Right.
just super hyped to just get in there, just focus on baseball and, you know, hang out with each other. And then this
Right.
whole, you know, pandemic thing kind of ruined that. But also, Lisa, I have one more question for you. So after playing volleyball for all that time and, you know, being happy to be a part of the team, how does it feel to be a quote unquote spectator now watching your daughter play? And are you also your daughter's, like, you know, at home coach?
So I have a hard time trying to be their coach. Of course, and they've been working out with me during this quarantine. We've been working out. They've been doing all of my Zoom classes with the teachers. They're like my little assistants. And they come and work out with me outside whenever I do. But they've always been in my class as my students, because when I started doing CrossFit Kids, the kids classes, I originally got into it for them. I wanted them to have, you know, the abilities to be able to lift weight, and I wanted them to gain the confidence that comes with that. And of course, I know that those fundamental skills will last them forever. And I have to say, I think my daughter is an amazing athlete because of the CrossFit Kids that she did with me when she was 5, 6, 7 years old. I think it helped her a lot, you know, doing pull-ups and doing, you know, gymnastic-like movements and learning how to squat properly. All those things kind of helps. But it's challenging because they don't always respect me as Coach Lisa, which is frustrating. And sometimes they will whine, or they'll roll their eyes, and I have to remind them, you know, I'm not mom in this situation. I am your coach, and you need to be coachable and know how to, you know, take instructions and listen to cues and follow, you know, what I say. So that's a struggle sometimes, but also working with them has helped me work with you guys at the school, working with kids at their age. You know, I can see what they respond to and what they don't want. And, you know, it's important to kind of work with kids at all different stages. It helps working with you guys at the school makes it easier.
I know what you mean. Oh, but what about the sorry, Gabe, it looked like you were about to ask something, but what about the volleyball, like watching it now?
Oh,
Is it
watching. So believe it or not, the volleyball has changed in the years since I played, and there's like in the last 10 years they've added new positions, like libero is a new position now that I never had when I played. And some of the rules have changed a little bit. And so now when I watch, I mean, I'm always watching, you know, with the strength and conditioning coach hat like that I have because I train you guys. So when I watch and I see how they jump or how they, you know, how they could jump better if they worked on, you know, the explosive type movements. So a lot of times when I watch now, I try not to say too much. I try not to be like that sideline, you know, coach, and I let the coach be the coach. But you know, when she comes off the court, my daughter specifically, I'll say to her, you know, we need to work on this or we should work on that. And you know, that's not always well received. I'm not gonna lie, she doesn't want to hear that. But I have had the opportunity to work with her team in the gym, which is really has been great. The few times that I've had them in there, I've been able to work on certain drills that helps them, you know, be better on the court. So I'm always looking at what they do and how they move and thinking, how can we make that better? So working on things like, you know, even like doing a burpee, like that's so important for volleyball players because when they dive and they go down to grab a ball, and they need to be up on their feet in seconds, be right back up on their feet. And that's essentially what a burpee is. They're down, right back up. So having that quick reflex and being able to move quickly and being agile, that's really important. So, and of course, being able to jump and hit and having power, those are all necessary things to every sport, you know. So the stuff that we work on off the court is really important. So it's something that I always encourage them to do. It's hard though, because I think a lot of kids who play sports only want to play their sport. So they don't want to do the stuff in the gym that helps the sport, help them, you know, get better at their sport. I know you guys have started doing cleans and working on some of the Olympic lifts, which, I mean, working on that, working in that movement helps you become better at jumping and better at running and better at doing, you know, receiving weight if you're playing football or whatever sport you do. There is something connected to that. It helps that movement, helps you in that sport.
No, that's true too. And I like, you know, playing winter track too. Other sports help out with other sports too, like doing winter track and sprinting. Obviously, you know, you sprint in baseball, so sprinting and winter track really helped. And the movements of like, you know, weight throw where it's all hips, you know, explode, and the same with shot put. I know Gabe can attest to this as well. It all just helps with baseball too. And that's also one of the, I think, ways that me and Gabe both got into lifting was during winter track because we didn't really go freshman year. We didn't really go to the weight room that much because I didn't even know we had a weight room, if I'm being honest, originally. But I went down there and I think it was Amin Mustafa. I love him, an alumni. He's a great guy, and he showed me how to lift weights and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, obviously it started the Ach family, right, and all that stuff.
Right.
But it was just awesome because it finally, I guess lifting too was kind of an outlet for people as well. After
and
like,
managing
you know,
stress and
yeah, exactly.
the
That's why it's so important to do some kind of exercise now while we're home, because it does help your mood. It does help make you feel a little bit better, lessens anxiety. It is a mood booster, any kind of activity. So, you know, I have this little plaque downstairs on my wall that says, when I have a bad day, I work out, or when I have a good day, I work out. When I have a bad day, I work out harder. Something like that. I don't remember, but work out harder on the bad days. I think that's really important to keep in mind. Like, it does help. Oh, and I want to say, you guys who play multi-sports, I think that's the best thing for kids your age, and even starting at a younger age, is to play a variety of sports, because it helps develop all the skills that help. It's, you know, it's the best thing to do is have, you know, multiple skills at multiple sports. So you guys have been doing a really good job at, I like that you play something every season, which is really important. It makes you great athletes.
One question that Sean and I have, we asked Paterno as well, is like, other than working out, are there any things like you've been doing like on quarantine to help manage stress or just to keep your mind active?
I have been making a concerted effort to sleep more. I have really had a great, sleeping has been amazing. I've been able to get into a good sleep routine, and waking up later is really great. That's a nice luxury we don't always have. So I've been taking advantage of that. I've been wearing, actually, this is the thing that I realized. There are a lot of things that you can do to help you sleep better. Obviously, we're watching TV at night. That's what we do. It's not going to change, and we enjoy it. It's part of how we relax and have spend time as a family. We watch Netflix together, and but we have been trying to go to sleep a little bit earlier. And I found that also, like, wearing an eye mask at night to kind of block out the light helps me sleep a little bit later. And just whatever you can do to try to make your sleep routine helpful. If it means having some tea before going to bed, or something that helps you relax and go to sleep a little bit earlier, and wearing an eye mask or earplugs so that you're not waking up earlier, something that can allow you a little more sleep time. It's a great idea. So I've been wearing earplugs and an eye mask to keep sleeping a little bit longer, and it's been great. I've been able to get at least 8 hours of sleep every night, which is never ever. I don't remember the last time that's ever happened.
I feel like over quarantine, my dreams have gotten really weird, and that's like the one thing that's stopping me.
Yes,
from sleeping.
I agree. Me too. My kids have said the same thing. We've all been saying that. Very weird and vivid, and I think that's probably because we are all getting a little more REM sleep, and that's the stage in which dreams occur. Sleeping a little bit deeper, a little bit longer, allows you to get into that stage, that sleep cycle. And so we are all having, that. Also, I think we're able to remember our dreams. I don't think they're more frequent than normal. I just think that when we wake up now, we're not rushing out the door, or rushing to get to school, or rushing to get to anything, so that you wake up naturally, and you have like a few moments to remember the dream. Whereas, usually you wake up to an alarm, and you wake up and you realize, I gotta go, I gotta do this. And you don't realize that you had the dream. But the dreams probably were the same as always. You're just able to recall them now because you're waking up in a different kind of way. I haven't set an alarm in weeks. So waking up naturally is so different than waking up to an alarm.
I think too, it's also that some people are just having, well, I know for me, I'm having weird dreams because I'm seeing the same exact 3 people and the same dog every single day. It's been that way for the past month. So it's just like my dreams are just so bizarre now. I just don't try to make sense of them anymore. Because I used to be, a believer in like messages being sent by dreams. It's stupid. I don't think that's smart.
No, I believe that too. For sure, there is some connection with the subconscious and something, bigger than that. I mean, that could be a whole nother podcast, but I do that. But I do think there are logical reasons why we're dreaming more. And I think, the fact that we are getting into that sleep cycle, now, and that we're waking up and taking a second to kind of remember the dream is a part of it.
No, I agree. I mean, the one I had the other day was I was orange and I went to the Krusty Krab. So I don't think that's really a message. I think it's just more of just.
It could be.
It could be a message.
Have you been watching a lot of more SpongeBob lately?
No, I haven't even touched it. That's just what my Google Plus image is. And so that's the only time I've seen SpongeBob. So I had no idea why it was the Krusty Krab. And I was orange too. And I'm not talking about Trump orange. I don't want to get too political here. But it wasn't Trump orange. It was just like Cheeto. It was like Cheeto dust. And it was just like, I don't know. We're getting a little off topic. I can see that. So I have a question for you, Lisa. Did you, quote unquote, force your daughter to playing volleyball, or did she just pick it up as a passion?
No, she discovered it on her own. She played it in, I guess, modified volleyball, elementary school. You didn't?
Well, sure, Kristen did.
Oh, well, they started playing it in school. It was, I think, in gym class, it was like a chapter, one year in one section, and they just enjoyed it. And, they're kind of similar body type to me. They're taller, they have, I feel that they're both pretty athletic. So it kind of just they naturally it's funny that you should say that. So what I mean by they're both similar to me is that they don't. Well, my younger daughter who plays volleyball, she doesn't typically like to run, and I don't like to run. So we prefer sports like volleyball that require, covering less distance. So she would rather play volleyball than soccer, for example. So she kind of leaned naturally towards volleyball. I think when you look at sports that don't involve running, you kind of are left with a handful of them. It's not that there's not that many. So I think that's kind of how she went to that, and she decided that on her own. And I think and of course I supported that because that was my sport. So I was happy that she was doing it.
I have another question actually. If we can backtrack to Canada, if you remember anything about the glory days of lifting in Canada, are there any major differences or just differences at all between the lifters in people who work out in Canada and those in America? I know exercising is a universal language, but I feel like there's got to be some differences.
Let me take a second to think about that.
Like does Canadian lifters have a different accent when they're working out type thing?
Maybe. I never thought there was a Canadian accent until I moved here. I knew there was an American accent. That was pretty strange, especially in New York. But I didn't hear the Canadian accent until I was living here for a little while. And then I went back home and everyone was saying things like out and about. And I was like, wow, it's such a strong Canadian accent. I lost my Canadian accent pretty much right away because everyone would laugh at me when I said a word like that and they kind of beat it out of me. But no, I didn't see there in terms of lifting, there's no difference. And I'd have to say it's probably very similar. The gym scene is very similar in Canada as it was, here in New York. But I'm from Toronto. I was from a city that is very, very similar to New York City. People have said it's a cleaner version of New York. So when I moved here, there was no culture shock or anything like that. It was the only thing that was different was that my family wasn't around. Everything else was the same. I grew up with the same TV, the same influences, the same, commercials. We had the same products. We had McDonald's and Coke and all the same things you guys had here. It was all the same.
What about college differences? Do you think because you're
I think the college that I went to a smaller college. There was it wasn't the program that I was in was kind of at the time it was really exclusive. It was really difficult to get into, and there was only 120 I think students in my program, and it was a smaller school, and so I think it can be compared to other colleges in the States that are smaller versus bigger. It's just one of those. I think my experience was different than most because I lived at home, and I guess it would be compared to, someone who goes away versus stays home. So in that regards, I don't think there was too much of a difference.
Right.
Do you agree with the stereotype that all Canadians are nice people?
I do. Yes, I'm going to say
you do? I did not
do.
expect that.
Yes, all Canadians are very polite, very nice, and I mean, obviously there are a couple that are probably not that nice, but I think generally whenever I go home, I'm always reminded of how nice and kind Canadian people are. It's just, I don't know. I think they take pride in that, and everyone they teach their kids to be that way, and then just becomes a thing. It's a very welcoming, it's a warm place. People are very kind.
Huh.
Yeah, I agree.
Free healthcare, that's why.
Yeah, and that may help. Quality of life has a huge impact on how people behave, and having a better quality of life makes you a nicer person. I will say that in Quebec, I've heard that the people are not that friendly. So I don't know. I can't speak about the French Canadians. I've heard that they can be somewhat not as friendly, but
snobby.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. I haven't never been to Quebec, so I don't know.
I went to Quebec and Toronto for like 3 weeks last year on that
Mhm.
exchange like through Hackley, and
Oh yeah,
I can definitely attest to Canadians being very friendly, and polite. I don't
being
know,
which?
friendly and polite.
Yeah.
I don't. I guess we weren't in Quebec for that long, and not speaking French, I didn't really know what was going on most of the time. So I sort of just went where like the tour guide took us. But in Toronto, it was definitely a calm and nice atmosphere.
Right. And I'm sure there are different experiences for everyone because what I have noticed over the last being in New York now for the last 20 years and when I go to Canada now, I'm more of a tourist. I feel like more of a tourist when I go there because so much has changed in the 20 years that I have not been living there. And you find mostly now in Toronto where I'm from that everyone's an immigrant. It seems as though there are so few people who were actually born in Canada now. It seems to be mostly immigrants in the area that I'm from. So I don't know, people from depending which country they're from, I don't know if they've totally taken on the Canadian way of being friendly, but there certainly has been a lot of changes to the landscape, at least from where I'm from in Toronto.
I have a question for you. This is about quarantine. This is completely off topic, but it's about quarantine. So, once quarantine is over, what is the first place you will visit besides a barber shop or a restaurant?
Oh, besides a barbershop or a restaurant, well, I was going to say a restaurant, but the first place that I would love to do, I would love to go back home. I'd love to go visit my family in Toronto. So as soon as that border opens up, that's the first place I'm going. Because my sister has recently had a baby. She had a baby during this quarantine. She delivered April 19th. She had a beautiful baby boy, which no one has been able to see yet, only through Zoom and FaceTime. So that has been really hard, not being there with her as she has her first baby. So the first place I'm going is to see my family.
What about first restaurant? Like,
First restaurant.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
for you?
No, I
Sean,
haven't had
that's you?
McDonald's in 14 years. The last time I had McDonald's, I was pregnant with my youngest daughter. I was craving it. I allowed myself to have it. McDonald's is toxic, and I would not eat it. I would not recommend you having it.
I feel attacked.
Yeah, that's kind of rude. Can you take that back?
Take it back. Trouble for saying that. That's just my opinion. I just don't think it's real food. I think we can do better.
Okay, hot take.
Edit.
No, we're gonna if you don't take that back, we're gonna edit out the entire oatmeal gold section.
No,
We'll just edit in an apology. Like I'll clip the words together, and she's like, "I completely take that back."
No, I'm not going to take it back, but I will say that everyone has the freedom to choose what they eat, and you should be grateful to have that freedom to eat whatever you want. But with that freedom, comes responsibility. So make good decisions.
That's fair. I have a question. What did she name the?
Wait, she didn't get her favorite restaurant, Sean.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's a hard one. There's so many. There's so many great ones. I love Harvest on the Hudson. That's like really delicious and wonderful.
We're gonna have to edit
I like
that
River
out
Market.
unless they sponsor us. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. West is full of great restaurants.
What's your favorite restaurant in Toronto?
Favorite restaurant in Toronto? Oh, that would have to be 360, the top of the CN Tower. There's a beautiful restaurant right in the top, at the top, and it rotates. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
That's awesome, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Elise, I have a question for you. What did your sister name her baby boy? Did she name her baby boy Ak?
No, that's his middle name. His first name is Eli. Eli. Wait. I should have thrown Ak in there. That's a really cool name.
Wait, is his middle name actually Ak?
No.
Sean.
That would be cool, though.
That would not. I'm sorry. It'd probably not be cool.
If I had a son, how about this? I would consider as a middle name as Ock for if I had a
Please don't ruin your son's life just for me to be happy.
No, those are big, there's a lot of responsibility with that kind of a title, that kind of a name. You gotta work hard to earn that.
That's true. But then you're also cursing him to just, working out 24/7.
In the gym.
Yeah, that's fair too. I mean, like that's
okay.
a pretty cool name though.
All the Ocks I know in your group have been really exceptional, athletes in terms of their work ethic. What I've seen, you guys all have great work ethic. You guys work hard, even on days where you don't feel like it. You still show up. You're present. You have a positive attitude. You guys work. You do the things that you got to do, as well as the things that you don't always enjoy doing. You do the stuff that you got to do, even sometimes you don't want to do it, but you still do it, which is really impressive. You don't just come in there and bench press every day. Or do your favorite lift. You guys mix it up. You guys do a variety of things, and you work hard, and you have fun. What else can what else could I ask for?
I'm gonna cry. I miss
exactly.
Hackley weight
You're a
room.
special group. You're a good example to everyone else in there too.
You might have to induct some new Ox, like you and Paterno choose some of your favorites.
Oh, I don't know
Sean
if we
and
could choose
I aren't there.
You know what? This is what I say. This is my feeling about the Ock tradition. As the Ock will present itself. All right. If we find someone comes through that gym that has the same qualities as you guys, the same work ethic, the same attitude, the same intensity, they will prove to us that they will be worthy of such a title. We would not select them. They will present themselves.
I appreciate that, but you know that my name was ironically given to me, right?
No, I don't.
I think we
I
told
don't
the story.
We told the story on the first episode. If you want to recap, Sean.
Oh, well, I didn't even know this thing existed. You guys needed to tell me. I would be listening.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was so. When I did B&G, I did it with Jordan Allison and Cliff Joseph. I think Joseph is his last name. But I love the guys. They're alumni. They're great guys. But we were doing B&G and we were trying to lift a heavy shelf, and they're big guys, so they couldn't lift the shelf. And that day I learned Aki. Aki. It's like buff, ripped, jacked, right? And so, like I said, I was a big fan of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, so I was like, oh, Ak, and I was talking about Ak. I don't know. I just started talking about it, and then they were trying to lift a shelf, but it was super heavy, so neither of them could lift it. And I was like, boys, get out of the way. I got it. And I went over, and I couldn't lift it either because it was super heavy, and I was a scrawny little freshman. So they were just cheering me on. They were like, Ak, Ak, Ak. And I ironically got my nickname that way.
You made no progress lifting it.
Exactly. And then
keep in mind, the two other guys are both 200 plus pounds and like 6 feet tall.
Oh yeah, they both can bench so much and squat so much.
Actually, no, step aside.
The birth story of the Ock, but that's great. It works. It means that you had, determination, and you've been determined ever since.
I was determined to fail. I mean, thank you, Lisa, but
well, you tried. Some people wouldn't even attempt.
It was a 600-pound desk. I don't think I could have lifted it, but you know what? It was nice trying.
All these people are gonna know about like the history of the AUK committee now.
Yeah, all 14 viewers.
Legacy, all 14.
I mean, we got one comment, and it was Gabe's cousin going sick podcast. So I don't think there's too much progress.
He didn't even watch it. He just said that.
Well, my girls have been here in the background listening, and they've enjoyed it. So I'm sure it's going to be a big success.
Get them to watch and get them to comment. That's what we need.
Where can we find this? You didn't tell me how I can find this podcast.
Oh, we did it in the beginning before you were here. So it's on YouTube. It's the AUK channel. It has one subscriber, which is me. And
it's kind of hard to find because we lack relevancy in any way. So we'll just send you the link.
We're also a YouTube channel made for kids too, for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Gabe made us for kids, so it's just a kid channel
make us
now.
For kids.
Yeah, sure.
Fix that.
You're right. These are adult themes, Gabe.
Conversations.
Little kids can learn about games too.
I mean, actually, that's kind of like the audience we should be aiming for.
The younger, the better. I always say, I wish I'd started in the gym when I was younger. When I had my girl started, I think my younger daughter was 4 and the other one was 6. No, that's not true. 6 and 8. They started at 6 and 8. And I started having them do very basic stuff, like a sumo deadlift with a light kettlebell. They didn't do anything, obviously, that they couldn't manage, but we're just doing slight small weights and learning proper foundational movements. And I think that helped them a lot. And I always say, I wish I had started, and of course they've been doing it ever since. So, both my daughters will squat with me and they'll deadlift and they'll do these things. And even when a lot of people, thought that, oh, they're too young to be lifting weight. They never did anything that they couldn't handle or anything that wasn't safe. But I always feel that I could have been a much better athlete had I started that young. I didn't start lifting weights until I was 18, 19. It just wasn't a thing for girls back then. But now it's become, common to see girls lifting weight in the weight room. It's not a big deal. It's not, unheard of. So it's better. It's easier to do things like that now because you don't have to worry if people's gonna make comments or whatnot. So I'm really glad that I got my kids started really young. I wish I'd started younger. I don't think there's such a thing as too young. I haven't. My niece, who's 5, is already working out with my brother-in-law in the basement, and she uses little 2-pound weights. She has fun. She's learning to love exercise, which is great because it's going to set her up for a lifetime of good health.
That's awesome, actually. I mean, there are people who argue that starting kids too young can, stunt growth, that's that's what I mean. Yeah, it's like that's just parents just be over concerned that their child's going to bench 105 at 9 years old, which is just not going to happen. Exactly. And it is a myth that's been debunked. There's so many studies that counteract that opinion. And, there's no truth to that. It does not stunt growth. Anything, doesn't it help growth because it strengthens bones and kind of, I guess, releases?
Yes, increases bone density. So in the studies that I've read, especially for girls, for women, building bone density happens before the age of 12. And that is something that lasts with you for a lifetime. So starting that young definitely helps you later on in life. And I think it's kind of essential for most people to do some kind of weight bearing exercise. I'd say it's essential for everybody. It's not. I don't think it's optional. Weight bearing exercise definitely helps for bone density, male or female. And the earlier you start to address those issues, the better. It's like a bank account. You start depositing cash into that bank account early, you're going to have more later on in life.
A little life advice there too.
There you go.
Okay, I have actually one more important question because I think we're running.
We don't want to take too much of your time.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. This is awesome. But we have one more important question that I think is important to ask. But do you think that quarantine is helping people to reach their fitness goals or actually hindering them? Because I know people have different fitness goals. Like, if you want to get buff and bulk, then obviously lifting more weights is going to do that. But do you think overall quarantine is helping or hindering?
So I think you have to take a look at what those goals are. Obviously, I have spoken to a few people who their goal was to lose weight. Okay. And for some people, I still work with some nutrition clients that I speak to, and I work with them online, and they follow a nutrition program that I've set forth for them. And then they log in with me. I see what they eat daily, and then they have a weigh-in every week. They've still been doing that. So my clients that I work with online, have still been doing that, and they've all still been very successful in reaching their particular goals of losing weight. Because for losing weight, for actual weight loss, the most important factor is food for weight loss. That's the most important thing. You can work out, every day for an hour, and it's still only 4% of your day. Doesn't have as big of an impact on you as what you eat, those other, the other percentage of your day. So keeping that in mind, if your weight loss goal is to lose weight, it is very possible. And it's actually the best, quarantine could be the best time to achieve those goals, because you have the ability, the privilege to be able to cook all of your own meals and know everything that's going into your food. And the, not eating out is huge, not getting together socially. And for a lot of adults, drinking is a big part of weight gain. And a lot of times people who try to follow a program, just say they're trying to follow like a 12-week cut, they're trying to lose weight. Somewhere in those 12 weeks, they end up at a party, or they end up at a function or something where it involves eating more than they wanted to eat, or drinking, which obviously increases the caloric value for their day. So during this time of quarantine, where we don't have any of those extra curricular activities that will impact our diet, this is the best time. This is like, there's never been a better time to follow a meal plan and to lose weight. It is possible to lose weight if you're able to become structured and focus on the food that you eat, avoid those things that you shouldn't be eating, and get out and walk every day. I do have clients, I do have friends that are losing weight. That's their goal, is to lose weight, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I think the quarantine has helped them do that, because they have nothing but time to dedicate to this. Now, if your goal is to build muscle and become jacked like you guys are talking about, obviously that's not easy to do unless you have a home gym. And if you have access to weight, it's possible, because now you have time to go into the gym, do the weight that you need to do to achieve, the trauma to the muscle that's going to cause it to grow. The benefit of being in quarantine allows you the time. The only problem is that, without access to the equipment, it's not so easy. So yeah, the goal to grow. Also, when it comes to building muscle, you have to make sure that you're getting enough protein. So you can focus on certain things that are within your control, like eating enough protein, maintaining your protein levels. But obviously lifting heavy weights, which is goes with the plan to increasing muscle size, is not easy during this time. So you kind of have to do what you can, do the best that you can during this time. But I mean, it's unprecedented to have a time like this where there's nothing to distract us from those goals. We're able to focus on our fitness if that's what we choose to focus on. So you can either take full advantage of it and go for it, or you could go the other direction and just, you're either thriving during this time or you're not. So let's hope that everyone is kind of like doing what they should be doing, and working towards their goals.
Do you think you can still gain muscle mass during quarantine, though?
I think it depends what weights you have access to, what type of exercise that you're doing. I do think it is possible. I think it is harder to do, obviously, when you don't have the proper equipment and you're kind of just looking for things like, there's a lot that goes into gaining muscle. There's a lot of there's a certain amount of stimulus that is needed on the muscle in order to grow. And I think if you don't have access to the typical tools like the weights in the gym, then it can get tricky, and you have to be careful. You don't want to start like, lifting the couch or doing things unconventional lifting, because then you could possibly get hurt. And that is, something you want to avoid, because when we get out of quarantine, you want to be healthy. You don't want to be dealing with some kind of injury. And also, you want to stay out of the emergency room at all costs during this time. You certainly don't want to be dealing with any of that.
And this is my last question. That's true. That's 100% true. That's the mom in you coming out for us.
Yes, I don't want you to start picking up the fridge.
But I actually have one more question. This is a completely personal question. It's very selfish of me to ask this, but so I've been told by people that before you work out, you should, I guess, eat like a lot of protein or a bigger breakfast. So what I do is I wake up at like 9. I'll eat like a piece of whole wheat bread, and then I'll work out at 11. Should I change anything about that?
So you're waking up and having a carbohydrate. right? Not a protein. So what I would suggest is it depends on how much time between how much time before you work out. I think you should eat about an hour before you work out to allow your body to digest. And I think that the type of food you should have before a workout should be some protein and a complex carb of some kind, and some kind of healthy fat. So I would say for you, I would add a hard-boiled egg or a couple of hard-boiled eggs to that piece of toast, or a little bit of peanut butter or some kind of healthy nut butter that doesn't have any added sugar. But I wouldn't have a really big meal. But then again, you're saying you're working out at 11, so you do have enough time to digest. You could have a regular breakfast, fruit and protein and carbohydrates, like a balanced meal, and you will have digested within the 2 hours, before you work out. I don't think it's a great idea to do any type of exercise in a fasted state. I know some people do that. I think that's more cardio type of exercise. It'll work better for that. But even then, you'll go further having had some fuel before you work out. So having a good, balanced breakfast, not a heavy breakfast though. That's the one thing people you don't want to have super heavy food, before you work out. You want to have something that's easy to digest, easy on your system. And then after your workout is probably the best time to have your carbohydrates after your workout. It's a good time for carbs and protein.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Do you have anything else to say about plug Oatmeal Gold one more time?
No, I think you guys, we've done a good job. I just want to say I miss you guys, and I'm really sorry that your senior year has ended this way. And I really do. I know this would have been a really great year for you guys, but the years ahead coming up are going to be so much better than this one. So don't waste too much time, thinking about that. Just look to the future and realize that those years ahead of you are going to be so much better. And don't feel bad about that. You guys are awesome, though. I'm really proud of you guys and the work that you do.
Thank you, Lisa.
Outside of the gym. Always a pleasure to see you and talk to you guys.
Thanks for
You too,
coming,
Lisa.
Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. This was great. This was awesome.
I agree. I love talking to you guys. Anytime. We'll do this again.
Perfect. Oh, I sent you the link to the YouTube channel if you want to check out the Paterno podcast. It's a doozy. It's an hour long, but it's the bald man.
Wait.
It's the greatest thing.
I cannot wait to listen.
It was good talking to you, Lisa. We miss you. I hope we can see you soon.
I do too. All right, guys. Take care of yourself. Stay active and eat well.
Bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye.